Hey everybody, Math by the Moon back again, doing some more math with you guys. Today we're going to talk about translations. I know in Edgenuity, some of my Algebra 1 kids right now are going back and thinking, oh man, I know we did these words in the math thing. I remember filling it in our class, but I'm struggling with some of the things that I know were hanging in the room, and why am I messing these up? So here, I'm going to show it to you, get you back on track with the words in the math. So let me share the flip chart. Here is the words in the math document. So if you need to, you can jot these things down, all the words that mean certain things in math class. I think just knowing what they're asking you in Edgenuity, probably the ones that are messing you up are the turnaround words. Turn around every from and then. Don't you remember that? You got to remember, turn around every from and then. It could be more than, could be less than, could be anytime you see from, it's definitely going to switch the order. And for those of you that are seeing this for the first time, you're probably like, what's wrong with this dude? I have no idea what he means by turn around. So something as simple as this right here. Let me just pull up my document camera here and split this over. Something as simple as 5 less than a number. Okay, if we have to write that as an expression, and we're going to get into equations, but 5 less than a number, anytime I see the phrase then, I always say turn around from and then. So this will actually, my number we'll call x, and the 5 will actually switch the order of them. So the x will come first, minus 5. Okay, even if I said that this is 5 from a number. And in class, what I'll often say is, well, how old are you? And they'll say 15, 16, or whatever. I'll say, take 5 from that number. What are you going to do? You're going to do your 15 minus the 5. You're not going to do 5 minus 15. So you have to think about this in the context of, well, what's going to come first if I were to write this out, if I'm taking something from something else. So every from and then, turn around every from and then, in my best singing voice I could possibly get for you right there. It might even have been on key. We're going to switch the 5 in the number, so it'll be the same as the last one. Okay, some other key phrases down here that always trick kids up. Anytime you see the phrase that involves multiplication with either addition or subtraction, it's going to look like distributive property, because that's what distributive property looks like. If you said you're going to do 2 times a quantity, that's literally spelling it out to you, that you're going to have to distribute. And in a lot of times in written math, you don't say the quantity. You might say the difference of, or the sum of. So if I say 2 times the sum of a number and 8, let's just say, and, whoops, a number and 8. Sorry about my squeezing in there. My kids are going crazy upstairs. I'm losing my focus. But that doesn't mean I can't handle it. So times the sum of, and if I come over here times the sum of, I know I'm going to have parentheses with a plus in. And if this said times the difference of, if it said times the difference of, I would have parentheses with a subtraction in between. Okay, so we're going to focus on sum for the first one here, and 2 times the sum of a number and 8. Now that's not a turnaround word. It doesn't say something with a from or a than. So the number and 8 just literally goes right in here. It just drops down in. If it were 2 times the difference of, we would take the 2 times the difference of, which means subtraction, the number and 8. Okay, so these parentheses phrases can mess kids up because they're just translating it straight across. They're not thinking about it in terms of the order of operations, that, you know, this phrase means to put parentheses around the sum or the difference. So the math problem I want to do then is an equation that relates to all of this. It says 5 less than 5 less than, triple my number. So I know this than right here is going to turn the 5 and it's going to come after. So when I write this, I know it's going to be minus 5 after something because the than means it's going to come second. Turn it around. Triple my number, so that would be 3x is equal to twice the difference. Now, twice means to multiply by 2, and the difference of means parentheses. So twice the difference of, so that's my setup, my number in 4. So it's the same number as we had over here. So it's going to be an x, and it's going to be 4 again. So if I were to write this without any of that previous bit of instruction, you might have the 5 first over here in the wrong order, and you might not have the parentheses. So those two things are going to get you a different answer, plain and simple. And now we'll use our solving equations process where we distribute, combine like terms, move the variables all to one side, and solve the two-step problem that remains. So here I got to distribute. It'll be 2x minus 8. Over here, I don't have anything to do. I just drop it back down. And now I check for like terms over here, and I don't have any like terms. So I'm going to try and move all the variables to one side. And like I told you before in the previous video, I like to move them over to the left because that's typically the way you read things, from left to right. So that'll give me a 1x, and do this in one step here. I'll move the 5 over here, would give me a -3. So I divide by 1, or I don't have to, because if I divide by 1, it's not going to change anything. My answer for my number in this problem was -3. So don't forget, turn around every from and then. And don't forget your parentheses phrases. Anytime you see times with the sum of or times with the difference of, those things mean parentheses. Here it is again. If you want to jot these down or pause it, there's all the words. Notice how typically kids will think that difference is a turnaround word. It isn't. It just means subtraction. Yes, this less than is in the subtraction, but it's also down here. So it is a turnaround word. Don't get that confused. If I just say, maybe I take that out and just use the word less. If I don't say than, it is just simply subtraction. But anytime you see than and from, it's going to be a turnaround word. So if you have any questions about translations, hit me up. I will be glad to help you out as best as I can.